Is this a coronavirus correction we should fear? Is Crown becoming too big a gamble? And will these lockdowns lock out the CBA buyback? I'm Peter Switzer, he's Paul Rickard, and we're locked down and we're mad about money. Okay, Paul, is this a coronavirus correction we should fear?
Well, I think possibly, Peter, it is a little bit because we've seen a lot of volatility in the US. And look, we're at record highs, so a correction was probably always on the card. One day down, the next day up, we're almost back where we were. Australian market did pretty well yesterday, you've got to say, and that's, I think, shows you the impact of the underlying momentum. Plus the lower Aussie dollar is probably helping offshore interest in our market. That's a positive. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a little more volatility in the US in the coming couple of weeks as we just play out the whole Delta scenario and just see how bad globally it gets. What's your take?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rough time over the next few weeks. What I like about the fact is that we didn't do as badly as a lot of people expected yesterday on our market. I like the fact that the US has come back overnight, but I think there will be a lot of concerns around whether this Delta strain of the coronavirus is going to lead to European and US economies and states closing down. I don't think they will, Paul. I think they're going to basically ride with this because their vaccine rates are very high compared to Australia. And I just think that basically we're going to learn to live with viruses using vaccinations. And I just think that this is going to be a buying opportunity. I don't care if the market falls 5 or 7%. I'm going to be in there buying the stocks that I know will be really good in a year's time, like the Qantases and companies like that, which will really benefit from the reopening trade.
Yeah, I'm prepared to be patient, Peter. I think you've got a bit of time on your side in this market at the moment. I think the other thing that was interesting last night was that whereas the stock market rebounded, we didn't really see any change in the US dollar or bond market. So there's some contradictory signs there. On the one hand, the market's saying we're a bit scared. That's why the US dollar is strong and bond yields are still staying around about 1.2%. On the other hand, we saw the equity market up. So I think we're going to see a bit more choppiness in the choppy lead. But you have to say the Australian market performance yesterday was pretty positive.
Yeah, without doubt. Let's go to the next topic because we're talking about gambling on the coronavirus. What about the Crown situation with its license, Paul? If it loses its license, and there are plenty of people out there wanting to say they will, boy, that's going to kill the share price, isn't it?
Look, it would, Peter. I mean, of course, we've got takeover bids or market bids on the Crown. This just came out of the recommendation from the council to the Royal Commissioner, but you've got to say it's a pretty strong recommendation, right? And Crown's in all sorts of pain. So we saw that a little bit in the share price, but also some of the subordinated notes, they got sold off yesterday. I think Crown's pretty big and it's a gamble, Peter, and I think there's more downward pressure to come here. So look, it's a Melbourne institution, the whole Crown complex is, but when the regulator, at least the council to the commission, is saying, hey guys, these guys shouldn't be allowed to run a casino, that's serious problems.
Yeah, and I guess the bottom line is this: the business of Crown can easily continue. You can still even call the hotels and the resorts Crown, but somebody else could own it and a totally different group of people have the license. And I think that's going to be that transitional period that might result, which will hurt the share price because uncertainty will prevail until certainty comes around. So I think the point is, I'm really glad I got out of my Crown shares some time ago.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Peter, because look, there's going to be a casino in Melbourne. The whole entertainment complex ain't going to disappear. It's just a question of who's allowed to operate it. It may not be the Crown company, but someone else will get the rights to operate that. So look, there's some value there. And I just think we're going to go through a pretty choppy period. And who knows, if the takeover offer is conditional upon all these things being approved, well, if the Victorian regulator suddenly says, hey guys, you've lost your license, then I think the whole different ballgame is for Crown.
Yeah, it certainly is a gamble. Become an annual Switzer Report subscriber and get unprecedented access to my 7 investing principles where I reveal the exact strategies I use to invest. You'll get access to an exclusive PDF, video recording, and even a free copy of my book, Join the Rich Club. With a 30-day money-back guarantee, a Switzer Report subscription is one of the wisest investments you can make towards your future. Find out more at switzerreport.com.au/YouTube offer or click on the link in the description below. Now, finally, Paul, you're a guy who's been talking about the potential CBA buyback, and you're suggesting now that maybe the lockdowns and the implications on the bank might mean they'll delay it.
Well, I think it was a laid out misère that CBA was going to announce an off-market buyback at its results. They're due on Wednesday, I think it's the August 12th, of probably about $5 billion. And that's one of the reasons why the CBA price has been very well supported, because it's a fantastic deal for a lot of retirees and other low-rate taxpayers. You're probably mad if you don't accept, but that creates its own buying as well when the shares are actually getting cancelled. So other people sell into the buyback and then buy back on market. That's one of the reasons the stock price is pretty firm. But two things have happened. First of all, we saw ANZ announce a buyback on Monday. It's an on-market buyback, but only 1.5 billion. But secondly, I guess the banks must just be feeling just a little bit, uncomfortable at the moment if the lockdowns continue, because at this same time last year when we were going through lockdown madness, they're all having to raise capital and because of the provisions for the damage it would do to companies and individuals because of the economy going into a hibernation. Now, just when they're thinking about returning capital, they've got the same sort of question mark out there about the outlook. So it just might mean, Peter, to decide just to defer the announcement or just wait and see just how long the lockdowns continues. Let's hope we get out of lockdowns quickly and the economy gets back up to speed.
Yeah, because what you're basically saying is that banks might have to put some money aside for the people they're going to allow to defer their loans. The fact that there are business loans out there that and the bank won't be closing up businesses under this circumstances of a lockdown. It means that the bank's bottom line could be affected. Therefore, Matt Comyn, the boss of CBA, might not be as generous as he was planning to be when things looked all hunky-dory.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. You've summarised it well. So we'll find out on Wednesday, August 12th. But the longer this lockdown in New South Wales and Victoria continues, I guess the more risk there is of perhaps that decision being at least deferred.
Okay, under lockdown circumstances, this is our unusual out cue. I'm Peter Switzer, he's Paul Rickard, and we're mad about money.